Betty Abernathy says the thing she loved and still loves about teaching is following the progress of her students. She loves seeing their smiles when they do well, and she believes that all students deserve a chance to learn, and she encourages them to do their best. Born in Harville, Missouri, to Judson and Marie Ward, Betty spent much of her childhood in the Depression years of the 1930s. She changed schools 6 times by the time she was in the 4th grade. During her 4th grade year, she started at Naylor Elementary. Betty remained at Naylor through high school. Betty graduated in 1943 from Naylor High School, where, as valedictorian, she received a scholarship to Southeast Missouri State University. Because of the war, the college was offering what was known as short terms. Betty attended one short term and then began her teaching career. In 1944, she got a job teaching 1st through 3rd grades in a 2-room school in the Naylor area. On October 1, 1945, Betty Ward married Jack Abernathy. Jack was a fighter pilot during the war and flew many missions. After the military, Jack entered education as well, and he went to work for the same school district as Betty. In 1955, Betty taught 1st through 6th grades at Sewell School. Then, in 1956, she taught 1st and 2nd grade at Oxley School. Eventually, both of these schools consolidated with the Naylor R2 School District. In 1958, she was moved to the Naylor School campus. When Betty began teaching, teachers were only required to have 60 college hours. She, Jack, and a few others began taking summer classes at Arkansas State University to earn their bachelor's degree. In 1958, Betty graduated with honors from ASU. She continued to attend classes, and in 1972, she graduated with a master's degree in education with an emphasis in reading. As a classroom teacher, she often had 30 to 35 students, and even as many as 42 in her classroom. She was also a reading specialist for many years, and she implemented many new approaches to reading and learning. Mrs. Abernathy was, and still is, an avid supporter of Naylor athletics. She was scorekeeper for the Eagles basketball team for many years and still attends many games throughout the school year. In 1984, the school yearbook was dedicated to her. Betty and Jack, Naylor's high school math teacher and then elementary principal, retired together in 1985. Then Betty's life changed drastically in 1990 when Jack passed away. The one thing that remained constant in her life was her desire to teach. Betty has been very active in the Ripley County area. She has been a member of the Eastern Star for more than 50 years. She has served on the Board of Aldermen for the City of Naylor, the SB 40 Board for Sheltered Workshops, and the Board for the Ripley County Health Center. She was instrumental in organizing the Naylor Alumni Association and has been Ripley County's Woman of the Year. She has been the keynote speaker at several of Naylor's graduations and on one occasion was recognized as the only educator to have taught 3 generations in the district. Betty and Jack have 2 sons, Gary, who taught school in the Doniphan R1 school district for 6 years and then spent another 20 years in the Air Force, and Roger, who received his doctorate and taught math for 20 years before his own retirement. Like his mother, he continues to work part-time teaching classes. Betty has 4 grandchildren. Representative Steve Cookson presented Betty with a resolution on her 90th birthday, and she was honored with a surprise party at the school where they presented her with 90 roses. The next day, she came back to school and handed the roses out to the students. No one can outgive Betty. Mrs. Abernathy is an icon in the Naylor area. Betty believes that education can and should be interesting, and she always tried to maintain a healthy balance of fun and work in the classroom. She is a pioneer.